The back wings of the hospital where nothing will grow lie cinders in which shine the broken pieces of a green bottle. Hello and welcome to Is This Good? The show where we boldly, conclusively, and scientifically decide what things in this big wide world are good. I'm Matt Austin, and with me as always is production powerhouse Jason Doyle.
Hello.
Hi JD, thanks for coming, and now I'm going to mispronounce some names. Today's guest is reliable like O'Teal Burbridge's bass, playful like Jeff Chimenti's keyboards, steady like Bill Kreutzmann's drums, sturdy like Mickey Hart's drums, inventive like Bob Weir's guitar, and tall like John Mayer. Please welcome from No Dunks, the oldest and best basketball podcast on the planet, Trey Kerby. Trey, welcome to Is This Good?
How perfect is this? We didn't talk about it at all. You hit me with the Dead & Company classic lineup, and I'm here wearing a Dead & Company shirt. It was meant to be, Matt. Synchronicity happening coast to coast.
Wow, that is beautiful. And of course, this is on my mind because I don't think I'll speak to you before we are in beautiful Las Vegas, where I will join you to hang out. But the night before we hang out, you will be at Dead & Co. at Sphere, not the Sphere, Sphere, to see Dead & Co. Now, you said classic lineup. Is this not the lineup that's going to be there?
I don't think so. I think Bill has left prior to the final tour that I went to last summer. But I guess they're not touring. They're only in one spot right now. So they picked up a new drummer. He plays faster. It's been good for everybody.
Oh, a new drummer, because I was going to say, why did Bill leave? Is it because he realized there was already another drummer in the band?
He finally looked left. What?
What
This guy's playing with flip-flops?
There was probably one song, he was playing Cumberland Blues and he dropped his stick, but he still heard the drums going and he was like, wait a second, something's not adding up to old Bill Kreutzmann.
The music never stops, but he didn't understand why.
Okay, so tickets are secured.
Well, it's a complicated scenario here, Matt. I'm planning for Summer League. We've gone for a decade or whatever at this point, so I'm looking at the calendar. I'm breaking down the weekends. It's always the first weekend of July, for the most part. Unfortunately, that turned out to be July 5th, basically July 4th weekend. I still bought the tickets like a absolute clown. Then it turned out the first weekend of Summer League is the 11th through the 13th, which we'll be at, so I have tickets to the 5th, which I need to sell, and then get tickets for sometime that weekend. It's possible we might be talking to each other before I go, depending on where and when you make us a dinner reservation.
Okay, great point. Hey, maybe because I live pretty close to Vegas, maybe I'll take those July 5th tickets off your hand.
Oh.
Okay, let's talk. I'll only charge you 10 to 12% more.
That's, completely fair. I have a situation like this coming up where I bought tickets, but to a pulp show that's coming to Los Angeles, but I actually don't think I'm going to be here now, but I also don't have the tickets. It's one of these things where they don't send you the tickets right away. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, how am I supposed to rid myself of these tickets if I'm not going to be in the city and I'm only going to get them the day of? And do I just put them on a site being like, I will have them? I don't really understand how this works, but somehow everyone is scalping tickets to every fucking show, and I can't figure out how to do it once.
Yeah, you're not deep enough in the scalping game to understand how it's going. But I mean, all the common people are going to be excited to be getting those tickets, even if they come out the day of. There will be people trying to snag them last second.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. The secondary market, right. We don't call it scalping anymore.
Fair.
So Trey, it's Monday, but you don't have a finals game until Thursday. What are you doing in between? Learning a new language? Maybe flip a house?
Yeah, potentially flip a house. Unfortunately, the house next door to us sold to somebody else, so we can't buy it and then flip it right away. Because we could definitely get that done in the course of 3 or 4 days. I missed out on basically every movie that came out from 2014 to 2019. Yeah. So I'll watch one of those. There was quite a few that came out, it turns out.
Parasite. What a time that was.
Didn't see it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nope.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, I heard it's great.
It's
great.
Well, great pitch ahead, Trey, because we're going to be talking about movies in subjective trivia.
All right.
So
All right.
stay tuned for that, or skip right ahead. I don't know if you're one of those people that thinks subjective trivia is the best part of the show. We haven't done a survey, but I'm guessing there's some of you out there. So on The Great Beyond a couple weeks ago, Trey, we were talking about carpool lanes because I had just been in Montreal, Canada, and I was telling JD one of the differences between Canada and America is in Canada, it's 3+ to be in the carpool lane, whereas in America, it's 2+. And then we start talking about carpooling, and we start talking about how you and Skeets carpooled to the Turner offices for at least a year, but I think more than that. And it reminded me of an email I'd got, but I didn't have it at my fingertips. So I'm going to read it to you now that we have the man himself on the show to adjudicate this. Hello, Is This Good Pod? Is asking to carpool good if you're never the one that drives? Me and two of my close friends live in the same neighborhood, so we carpool most of the times we hang out, but one of them will never be the driver. I don't mind picking him up, but when I see him say, carpool? In the group chat, knowing he's never going to drive, it irks me quite a bit. If he were to just ask for a ride instead, I'd be fine with it. When someone asks to carpool, are you assuming they are asking for a ride or offering one? Curious to hear your thoughts since you and the No Dunks crew have carpooled. So Trey, that's from Ferris. As an expert carpooler, one in which you never or rarely ever drove Skeets. Skeets would always drive you. Did you still feel like you were carpooling? Or did you feel like Skeets was giving you a lift?
Wow, what a razor's edge of a question. My guess is that, like me and Skeets, if you're in a carpool, there is somebody who's going to be the carpooler more often, the driver, the more common driver, and it's probably who has the newest car, because that's what it was for me and Skeets. He was driving a fresh Chevy Cruze, and I was driving an old jalopy. You could hear this thing clanging from blocks away. My old Toyota Highlander had over 300,000 miles. We couldn't be guaranteed that we're going to be getting to work every single day, way back when. So, look, when you say carpool, I think you're opening up the discussions for some bids. Who's going to throw out, I'm driving, you're driving, but you both have to step up from time to time, even if one person's taking the lead more often.
What about this, the quarterback test they always talk about? Like, they're like, hey, we take these 4 quarterback recruits from the combine, and then we say, you got to drive somewhere. Who's grabbing the keys first? And that is proof that that person is a man. And the other people are, I don't know what. Well, not going to be good at throwing a ball, apparently.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest correlation between NFL success and drafting is if they take the keys in a carpool. That's why I was never able to go to the NFL, because even in my own household, I'm sitting passenger seat 90% of the time. Laura almost always drives. If it's local, Laura's driving. If we're driving 2+ hours, I'm probably sitting in the captain's chair. I don't mind being...
So she's a sprinter.
Yeah.
And you're a marathoner.
I'm a marathoner. She's got fast twitch muscles that I can only dream of. That's actually true. She's faster than me, I do believe.
If I were to take the quarterback test, which I doubt because I have never thrown, I would just ask for the keys, but then I'd sit in the passenger seat and be like, this is keyless entry, So you can press that button. You can press that button and I could be sitting anywhere.
I just want to get in.
So then on this idea of, well, actually, let me just say, in the situation of you and Skeets where you were going into work every day and you knew that you could be carpooling every day, I think it's a bit different than someone asking for a lift and saying carpooling. Because I think the people asking for lifts, and this does happen to me where I live, but I don't feel like people are asking early enough for a lift. That's my complaint. Like, if we're meeting at 7 somewhere,
okay,
I have already in my head gone, okay, I'm meeting Trey at the restaurant. The restaurant's 20 minutes away. I got to leave here at 6:40. I am doing stuff up until 6:39, basically. Right? Like, I'm showering, drying my hair, walking the dog, feeding the animals, all this shit. It's not like I'm done at 6:15 and then I'm sitting on the couch and getting in a quick game of Rocket League or something.
Sure.
So people that are asking for the lifts, they're just being like, well, he lives 10 minutes away from me. So if I ask him at 6:30, this should be fine. But what they're not appreciating is that I don't have I've timed it down to the second. So just ask earlier. That's my one request for one specific person that I'm talking about.
Look, obviously we're all huge football fans here. You're like a head coach following a script, right? You've got all the plays lined up. Here's what we're running. Here's our first 15 things. So yeah, you got to get your asks in early, which makes me think,
asks in early.
There were times, Matt, back in the starters days, because you lived a couple of blocks from Skeets and I apartment complex. Sometimes we would need to get a lift. Mm-hmm. That's getting a lift to me, because like me and Skeets, it's carpool mode. We share a parking lot. It doesn't make sense to take two cars. Yeah. The environment, the traffic. We get to drive in the HOV lane for upwards of half of a mile. We didn't have that long of a drive. But when we had to go to you, when we had to get our ask in probably the day before, because I know you like to have your eggs and your sausage melange in the morning. That's a big undertaking, I'm sure. But if we would ask you the night before, that's guaranteeing that we have a lift. That's when that's going above and beyond the carpool realm.
Right. Yes, you're right. Getting a lift is dating. Carpooling is marriage.
Nice.
Great way
so
to put
true.
it.
Okay, so then one more question about carpooling. Back to the idea of the carpool lane. Someone wrote in and asked, should children count as occupants when it comes to the carpool lane? Carpool lanes are meant to reduce traffic. Kids can't drive, so having them in your car doesn't serve the purpose of the carpool lane. Yet parents get to drive their little deviants around like they're saving the planet. Carpool lane kids, is this good? I read this, I was like, that's kind of a good point. Like, we're trying to encourage carpooling by having less cars on the road. Kids can't drive. And then I thought, what about adults with no licenses? Should they count if kids don't count?
Such a great question. First of all, I do like the Montreal regulations where 3 people makes a carpool. That does seem more carpooling to me rather than sharing a ride together. So I don't know. Maybe the key is that you have to have somebody else's kid in the car with you as well. Because if you're just driving your family, you're just driving your family. That's how we would be getting there together. But if you got a minivan and you're going to soccer practice and you decide, we're going to pick up John from down the street, then you're really carpooling. And then you get to get in that diamond lane.
And then you could be in the car with one person at your side, one person in the back, and you could turn around and say, hey guys, we're really carpooling, aren't we?
Oh, we're carpooling hard.
Oh, we're carpooling now. If you don't feel you could say we're carpooling now, you're probably not carpooling.
Right.
I think those are words to live by. You probably just got a lift. I'm sorry to say. Sorry to break that news to you, but some quick housekeeping before we start. If you'd like to support the show, go to patreon.com/isthisgood. You'll get ad-free episodes. You'll get access to our thriving Discord community, and of course, you will get an exclusive show every month where we say things that are only for private ears, even though you could just sign up for a free trial and still listen to it. So I don't know if that's a good plan, but we do it anyways. Send topics for future shows to isthisgoodpod@gmail.com, and don't forget to subscribe to Is This Good on YouTube. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. JD, it's June. Do you know what that means?
It's summertime?
Close. Second guess?
Mental Health Awareness Month ended last week?
No, see, that's a lie. You didn't saying that because of the ad we're reading.
No, I did. I honestly thought that.
I just said this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp,
I know.
and you magically say it's Mental Health Month?
Well, I've got all my emails are about Mental Health Month.
Okay, well, what I was going to say is you're not going to like it, but we're halfway through 2024. Remember we talked New Year's resolutions 6 months ago, and I said I was going to run a marathon, and I was excited, and I started training, and I picked a marathon, and I booked a hotel, and then I canceled that hotel because I'm not ready, and I'm old, and I need to train slower to prevent injury. Mm-hmm. So does that mean that the rest of the year is a write-off? Obviously not.
Absolutely.
That's where BetterHelp comes in. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress, make adjustments, and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Have I used therapy? That's a bit of a personal question. Is what I would have said when I was younger. But now I know it's something that just about everyone does. So yes, the answer is yes, I have used therapy, and there's no question it improved my life. If you're thinking of starting therapy, Give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/isthisgood today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/isthisgood. Trey, the premise of the show, it's very simple. I give you a topic, you tell me if it's good, but today we're bringing back a segment. It's just like Is This Good, except it's a little bit faster. It's called The Chaotic Good. So Trevor S. asks, having unique Wi-Fi names, is this good? So I don't know if you've seen this before. I'm sure you have. You go to log onto a Wi-Fi. Maybe it's in your own home, or maybe it's you're out and about, and you see something like Pretty Fly for a Wi-Fi.
Sure.
Or
Classic.
The Land Before Time. Or It Hurts When I Pee.
Yeah.
Or Tell Your Wi-Fi Say Hi.
Keep going. These are all good.
The classic for to fuck with the stoners out there. FBI Surveillance Van 17.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
All right. You get high, you watch Parasite. You're like, what's the guy that directed it? It's Bong Joon something. You look it up. Surveillance Van 17?
No. They're on to me.
They're coming after me, babe. So what do you think about this, Trey? Having a unique Wi-Fi name, is this good?
For me, yes. Absolutely good, because the alternative is keeping your default Wi-Fi name, and then it's like NS71214 6, just a random set of numbers. If you click on your Wi-Fi connection piece and it's just a whole bunch of numbers, you're like, oh, this looks ridiculous. Then you got to explain to whoever's coming to your house, no, you don't want that one. That one's the next door neighbor. You want mine.
Right.
So yes, I am up. I do think it is good to have a unique Wi-Fi name. It can be a struggle, though, to come up with a good one.
Yeah.
And I don't like to see my neighbor's name in their Wi-Fi name.
Oh.
I feel like they're not doing a good enough job protecting their own privacy.
Right.
I'm talking to you, Tierneys.
Oh,
I'm gonna blow up their spot, okay? It's the same as putting your kid's name on a sign in the front yard, and that's how I learned literally my neighbors' names.
Wow.
Was from their Wi-Fi and from their graduation sign, 8th grade graduation. Congratulations to name redacted, going to a new school.
Hey, why not take
year.
it a step further and just have the password for your Wi-Fi router as the Wi-Fi name? That way, if someone's staying in your house, you go, it's real easy. It's the same, you know?
And probably hackers aren't expecting that.
That's right.
Right? They would never. It's like hiding
The last
in plain
place
sight.
they'd look.
Totally true. But I do like to see the creativity. I do like to try and crack the code of what you're actually trying to get at. And I like to see people stretching their legs with regards to puns, because you're seeing a lot of puns on a Wi-Fi name.
Oh, that's all. Wait, so do you have a quote-unquote funny one?
My guess, if I give you 3 guesses, I think you could guess my primary Wi-Fi name.
Beans.
Very, very close.
wow.
Bag of beans.
There you go.
2 guesses. Wow, that's amazing.
I've had 3 Wi-Fi names. Since Laura and I have been together, we've had 3 Wi-Fi names. The first one we had came from our honeymoon. She wanted to lay down and cuddle. She says to me, lay regular, but it came out wrong, and she said Ray Legular. We thought that was the funniest thing ever. So that was our original Wi-Fi name. Then when we moved to Toronto, it was Bag of Beans. We kept Bag of Beans when we moved back here to Atlanta. Eventually, Matt, your parents sold me a Wi-Fi router.
Of course.
Who can forget?
As one does.
Yeah, so I had to add a second part to my mesh network, to my Eero mesh network. So now I will reopen the bidding. What do you think my second Wi-Fi name was at my same house?
Can of beans.
Fair guess. It's 2 bag, 2 beans. And I'll never change it. I'll never change it.
Wow. That's JD, do you have a quote unquote clever one?
I do. It's a bit of a, well, I struggled because I was put on the spot when the guy asked me what it should be. And I said, my Wi-Fi, but I didn't want it to be, just my Wi-Fi because you got to hear the Borat voice. So it literally says Borat voice dash my Wi-Fi.
You said Borat voice to the man on the phone?
Yes. Well, he was here. He was here in the house.
Oh, no,
Did
you
he
have to
laugh?
look him in the eye?
He laughed, but my original thing was Borat voice in quotation, my Wi-Fi in quotations, and then asterisks, and then Borat voice, But it didn't really work that way, so it was just, okay, fine, just Borat voice dash my Wi-Fi. People get it.
People get it.
I'm sure that's not the problem.
And how nice is that when you get to a new neighborhood, like you move into your house, you're setting up your networks, and you're like, oh, what do my neighbors come up with? I can't wait to see.
Yeah,
Who's
exactly.
who?
I've never seen this at a place I've lived, but I've seen it like just being out and about trying to join a network where you could tell that it's neighbors fighting with each other. Have you ever seen that? Like one Wi-Fi name will be like, your music sucks. And then like 3 down, there'll be a Wi-Fi name like, we can hear you having sex. Or, like, stop wearing your heels indoors.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Apartments,
So-
I think there'd be a lot of that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's very passive aggressive. So I saw online someone wrote, I was just trying to find like what are the most common puns people use. Someone wrote, because I was incredibly childish, my original Wi-Fi name was Big Tits. I had that while I was living in Singapore and South Korea, and when I moved back to the UK. I changed it when my next door neighbor, a really good guy, came around to tell me his 5-year-old asked him, Daddy, what does "do you want to connect to big tits" mean? I decided at that point to rename my network. It is now called Big Vagina. No, just kidding.
That's when you get into trouble, is anytime you have to troubleshoot your Wi-Fi, you're on the phone with your internet provider.
Right.
Like, what's your Wi-Fi name? And then you gotta say it out loud. Yeah, sir, it's a bag of beans, but you could use 2 beans if you need to, and they just have to like dutifully type it down as if you didn't just say something ridiculous.
Yeah, that's that sort of thing. It wasn't Wi-Fi, but it kind of backfired on me. Not backfired, but back when we used to rent videos, we had a very, very cool video store near our house. And when I was setting up my account, the guy was, my name is Terrence Jason Doyle. And he was like, okay, so you want to go, just tell them your name is Terrence, and then you can get your video. You don't need a card or anything. You just tell them your name. And I go, actually, is it okay if I go by Jason? Because I go by my middle name. Anyway, he goes, you can go by Jesus Christ for all I care. I said, I want to be Jesus Christ. So the entire time I was a member at this video store, I had to say my name was Jesus Christ every single time I rented a video. And usually I was kind of in the mood for it. I was like, yeah, it's Jesus Christ. And then I go, oh, Jesus Christ, blah, blah, blah. We have a little back and forth. But sometimes you're just not in the mood for it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like, fuck. My name, it's Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Or you could have just pretend you were Latin and said like Jesus or something, because that's more of a real name.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Did they reserve a copy of The Passion of the Christ without
They
even
did.
having to ask?
It was on permanent reserve.
You remember, this is making me think, remember I had that rule a long time ago that if you're screen capping something funny or relevant to someone that someone needs to see, it used to drive me nuts when I would screen cap something, send it to someone, and their only response would be like, you gotta charge your battery, or oh, it looks like the battery's almost out. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Don't look at the tiny thing in the top right corner. Look at the big thing that is either supposed to be making you laugh or information that you need, right?
I'm so with you.
Sorry?
No, I'm with you. I agree. I think that's so annoying. To me, it's more like I'm giving up this precious few percentages of my battery life to screen cap this for you, and you don't care about the content?
You know how much battery it takes to screen grab something?
This could be my last action.
Yeah, that's right. If the plane's going down and I have like half of one bar, and I call you and I'm like, the plane's going down, I just wanted to say, you're going to be like, honestly, you're cutting in and out a bit. Call me back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just Fucking roll. You know what? I've started cropping out, because when you screen cap now, it goes to that screen automatically where you can crop in between screen capping and sending. I'll crop out the battery. That's none of your goddamn business. Also, the time that I screen capped it, you don't need to know that either.
Right.
So why was I talking about this? Right. Similarly, if I'm sharing a password, if you've asked me for a password to my Hulu, to my HBO, whatever, don't comment on what the fucking password is, because you get that a lot. They're like, oh, Schmoopy69, or whatever it is. It's like, this is none of your business. Just move on with your day. JD, you've given me your password. Have I ever commented on it? Even though there's something sort of funny about it?
You have never commented, and I much appreciate it.
And I never will.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If someone's sharing a password with you, would you rather it be something funny like JD's, or would you rather it be, like a ridiculous string of characters and symbols and letters and numbers?
Well, I use the password manager now, so now I'm kind of off this game, because it will be a random string of numbers and letters and asterisks. But before, like, even if I had, like, I don't know, Montreal 1234, and I sent it to someone, they'd be like, oh, good to see you're still repping the city. I'm like, shut up! Don't pretend it's a secret.
It's supposed to be private.
It's supposed to be private. I wish there was a function where when you go to a website and you type in your password, but it just says asterisk, 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 like it hides it. I wish there was a way for me to do that. Like, send it to someone, and then they don't even know what it... I guess there probably is a way. It's called encryption.
You don't want your precious passwords getting out?
Look it up. All right, next topic. I was also just going to say, fun prank I thought of. If you live near a Starbucks, call your Wi-Fi Starbucks free Wi-Fi. And then the people at Starbucks will be like, what's the password? And they'll be like, it's latte. It's latte egg bite. And then they'll type latte egg bite, but it's your Wi-Fi and your password is, Montreal 1234. So they're never getting it. And they go back. They say, I thought you said it was latte. How many T's in latte? They'll say 2. Anyways,
this is a sick prank.
Great.
This is a sick prank. Fuck, I should have saved that for next year's April Fool's Day show, Trey. Which you were... Did you get Ghost Pants
I've been thinking about Ghost Pants for a month and a half, buddy.
All right, next topic. Honking. Is this good? I asked JD if we'd done this before. He said it's come up, but we've never done it as a topic, so I want to explore it fully. Because it is a thing that I'm not allowed to do. Jill has banned me from honking.
Wow.
Even in situations where someone's going to die. She says, you know what? I'd rather take the chance. I say that's controversial, but, she sticks to her guns. Are you a honker generally?
In general, I would say I'm not a honker. I'm pretty patient at a red light. But that's the thing. I would maybe side with Jill here in saying that honking in its current form, no good. Because your car only has one honk to it. You can't it's very hard to do like a boop, like a quick honk to just kind of alert somebody. Yeah. Maybe they aren't paying attention and you can just tell. Because I do feel like that's a helpful service sometime. Not laying on your horn, get going. But if you can tell somebody's looking at their phone, looking down, or whatever they might be doing, I do wish there was a way to communicate with other cars around you. In a nice way. Like, I don't want you to think I'm mad at you for not going right away. I just feel like maybe you didn't notice, and I'm giving you a heads up. Okay. But it's tough to do. You know how
those newer toilets have 2 buttons on them, one for pee, one for poop?
Yeah.
Let's get a pee, the equivalent of the pee button on the horn.
Guys, come on. It's
what?
You can do it. You can do the pop up.
Yeah, but JD, you're a drummer,
pop,
okay?
Yeah. Well,
if you have a big standing bass drum in front of you, you could gently tap it or you could slam it. But in the hands of an unseasoned amateur, you know what I mean? It's hard to get the sound you want.
You got to practice. You got to get in your driveway. You got to be out there just boop, 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 boop. Get a clicker going. Boop, boop, boop.
Wow, can you do a drum roll on your horn?
Pretty much, yes.
Man, when you nail a gentle honk, though, it sounds so good. Just like so airy, so roomy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Feels nice.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but then you're like, Laura, could you do that? I'm going to get out of the car. I want to see what it sounds like from outside the car, because you really only know. It's not the same, you know?
I can't believe you guys don't do rhythms on your horns. I mean, like, if I'm leaving somewhere, I'm shaving a haircut almost every time. Like, bye.
Oh, we definitely
see
talked
you later.
about shaving a haircut.
Boop, 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 boop. You know?
Oh, I
See you
mean,
later.
look, when we're leaving the Classic Factory here, Skeets and I parallel paths on our way home, but when he gets to the stoplight, he goes straight, I go left. And I will often toss out a little boop.
There you
just
go.
a quick one.
Yeah.
So I'm
nice.
good with that, but complicated rhythms, there's no chance. I
Yeah.
can't do anything cool. Like I'm a one-trick honker.
Like, you can't do To the Beat of the Rhythm of the Night on it.
No chance. Not even close. Not even. I will say, long.
I bet Bill
Kirby
Kreutzmann
family.
could.
Oh man, can you imagine that guy on the honks? That's why he left the band, actually.
They got two honks, two steering wheels.
I've left the band to join a car honking outfit.
Do you like this? In my family, when I'm leaving my mom's house, or if the other way around, 3 honks. I love you. Bop, bop, bop.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and then my mom will flick the lights on the porch. Up, up, up.
Wow. It's also part of SOS that.
I was gonna say, like, this sounds like when you discuss with your partner, like, this is how you'll know I'm kidnapped, or this is how you'll know someone's holding me at knife point inside the house.
I like it.
Got
I
a
like
knife.
it.
Okay, well, have you ever honked like for a wedding or anything like that, or if you're horny?
I mean, I've honked. I can't deny it. I've honked out there. There's times I've done it. Absolutely. A parade coming by, or like maybe a motorcade of high schoolers going to a state championship game. I don't know, but like if somebody's encouraging me to honk and like give a full blaring blast, I will take that opportunity.
Yeah, you got to.
You got to encourage
You
the
got
kids
to.
raising money at the car wash.
Yeah,
Precisely.
for sure.
Yes.
You don't drive in with your car to get it washed, but just give them a little supportive honk as you drive by and not go into the car wash. Because I don't want
Yeah.
those kids touching my car.
Yeah, they're gonna make it dirty.
They're there against their will, usually.
I was curious, actually, if honking your horn was illegal, because I've heard in some states that it is. And I happened to find an article from very recently, USA Today, February 2024. The Supreme Court on Monday upheld a California traffic law that bans honking, other than to warn another driver, turning down a challenge to the law from a woman ticketed for honking while driving by a rally outside her congressman's office in 2017. It took 7 years for this case to work its way to the Supreme Court. I think it's just the Supreme Court of California. But Susan Porter, who was on trial here, she argued that her beeps of support were protected by the First Amendment. The car horn is the sound of democracy in action, her lawyers wrote.
Wow. I don't disagree.
But
don't
the
disagree.
justices said no. And this is their reasoning here. And this is when you just realize the word honk is just a silly word.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to use it in like highfalutin language here. To be sure, most non-warning honks do not create distractions resulting in accidents, U.S. Circuit Judge Michelle Friedland wrote for the appeals court. But we discern no plausible means by which California could permit non-distracting honks while prohibiting distracting honks. So that was the reasoning. She said that she was pulled over for honking her horn, I love this, 11 to 15 times in a row in support of protests outside the district office of Representative Darrell Issa in California.
It does feel like a lot of honks.
Yeah.
11 to 15, that would last a while.
I also love how like they couldn't quite pin it down. They were like, I know it was more than 10.
Unless it was
too many
me,
honks.
and in which case it was pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, quick ones.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the machine gun honk.
Yeah.
Does this law cover truckers? Because everybody loves a trucker honk.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it should. I mean, that's like what 10 honk. Like, how many cars in a circle would you have to get honking to reach the sound of one long haul trucker honk?
10 plus, I think.
10 plus.
Feels like it.
Yeah. Enough people to listen to Zarika by the Flaming Lips together. Okay, that joke's for one, maybe two people. Okay, JD.
Luckily, they're both on the podcast.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody listening, but we'll see.
All right, Trey, I hate to have to ask you this next question. It brings me no joy. But Sanford Sydney asks, again, I apologize, urinating directly into the toilet water, is this good? Okay, he writes, hey guys, I'm keen to understand if urinating directly into the toilet water is good. Peeing on the sides of the bowl is more polite and doesn't cause the obnoxious loud noise that peeing directly into the water does. However, it does seem to cause more splashback. Peeing directly into the water is loud and aggressive, but doesn't seem to cause splashback. I also feel awkward and rude as a guest in someone's house when I know my pee can be heard. Any help on this matter would be greatly appreciated. Thanks. Again, that's Sam from Sydney. And I had to ask just because he said it would be greatly appreciated if you could help him out. So, I never really thought about this, but there are 2 places to pee.
Sure.
And I don't know which kind of guy you are.
I'm going water.
Yeah.
I'm aiming for the lake. Look, I don't mind if people hear me peeing. At the very worst, I'm getting a compliment for having a strong stream.
Right.
Like if it's really loud or really long, they're like, whoa, you went in. And that would give me a sense of pride, I believe. And I mean, at my own house, I don't want to be cleaning up my own pee on the splashback.
Right.
So I can't imagine if I go to your house, I'm peeing on your porcelain, it's shooting everywhere.
Yeah.
Then you got to clean up not only your own pee, my pee as well? No way.
Okay. But what about, like, let's say you're amongst friends is one thing, but you get invited to, like, the parents of one of your kids' friends' house. You never met them. You'd like to make a good impression. They're having you over for dinner, but their powder room is right next to the dining room table, essentially.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're not putting the silencer on that pee?
No, who cares? Who cares?
Okay.
Literally every single person out there pees.
That's true.
And
what do they think you're doing in there?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't hear pee, it's almost more suspicious. You know what I mean?
so true. They're like, this guy's taking a monster dump.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to truly
you dump into
go
the water
for a
or the
silencer.
porcelain and let it slide down?
Oh, I mean, you gotta aim for water.
Yeah.
In that case, you don't want to leave behind a smear.
I mean, I would say that to this person who's shy about people hearing the stream, the thing to do, the move is to sit down and pee, because it does mitigate a little bit of the distance.
Yeah.
It's not as far, so it's less of an aggressive sound. It's just more of a dribble, and usually it kind of goes on the porcelain, I guess.
Yeah. You're aiming.
Well, yeah, it's easier to hit the front of the bowl sitting than it is. Well, I mean, look, they're both pretty easy. Yeah. Either I'm a really good peer or they're both really easy. But I'm just saying it's safer, I think, to hit the front of the bowl.
Yeah.
So that can sometimes splash back on your hamstrings.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Good for you, Matt, is all I can say.
That could splash back on your hamstrings because you are almost creating a completely closed environment there. It's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you're worried about your pee being loud or splashing everywhere, sit down. It's going to be quiet, and you're taking care of the cleanup right away because it's all over your body.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
It doesn't sound like a great solution to me, but it's a solution.
It is a solution. And I think we should do it out of equality because women have no choice, I don't think.
They don't have
Too
a
bad
choice.
Rachel's not on this.
They have to sit down to pee?
Well, they have to sit down, but B, they have to go into the water.
Yeah, I think so.
Or I don't know. I don't think they
There's
can go.
not a lot of aiming.
Maybe they could go front rim, but I don't think they can go back rim.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
We'll have to follow up.
Yeah, this is definitely a follow-up topic for The Great Beyond.
Yeah. Next question. Poetry. Is this good? Corey writes in, I feel like 90% of poetry is bullshit, and most of the new stuff, Corey, what are you talking about, man? Most of the new stuff doesn't even rhyme.
Wow.
What is he talking
rhyme?
Where is the new stuff anything past Shakespeare? I mean, I'm sure there was non-rhyming poetry even in those days. but I don't know what he's
Does
talking
the
about.
Canterbury Tales rhyme? I don't even think that rhymes.
Edgar Allan Poe, he liked to rhyme.
Yeah, I will say that I prefer a poem that rhymes. I'm pretty basic that way. I do like when I think it's clever. I think they're harder to write, and it's just more pleasant to listen to, and that's why rap is so great. There's a lot of rhyming in rap.
It's a good point. I mean? Yeah.
Okay, you're on your Michelle Pfeiffer in Dangerous Minds shit here. You just turned the chair around, sat on it, and you're listening to Coolio and telling the kids that Bob Dylan was the first rapper.
Wow, I've never seen that movie. Does that actually happen?
Unfortunately, yeah. Wow. Well, no. I mean, Coolio's on the soundtrack. She doesn't listen to Coolio. That's the video.
Yeah.
But she does tell her class that Bob Dylan was the first rapper.
Oh, interesting.
And I think at some point she's like, I taught them Dylan. And then the other teacher's like, Dylan Thomas? And she's like, no. Robert Zimmerman.
Oh, Subterranean Homesick Blues. Look, I'm not a big poetry reader. I agree with you, JD, that when they're rhyming, it really feels like poetry.
Yes.
It's the poetry that we know.
Yeah.
The poetry. Sorry, Trey, do you mind? I'm going to finish reading the rest of this email.
Yeah.
Most of the new stuff doesn't even rhyme. Doesn't it feel like anybody can write poems? More and more I'm convinced it's just a bunch of words put together with strange spacing, punctuation, and capitalization. Interested to hear if you agree. Short answer, no. Best wishes, Corey in Paris. God, this guy's French, and he doesn't appreciate the poésie of Rimbaud and Verlaine. But anyways, Trey, what do you think? You're a big Rhyme and Simon guy.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm kind of with JD. Like, it feels basic to want a poem to rhyme, but you know you're reading a poem when it rhymes.
God damn it, this is a poem.
Which is definitely a big hint. Hey, this is poetry, isn't it? Those two words, they sounded the same.
Hold on. You're trying to run one past me, aren't you? But I just heard you rhyme moon with soon. This is a fucking poem, isn't it?
I think I've probably read one book of poetry as a grown-up. I liked it, and I can't remember a single thing about it, but I was like, this is okay.
Yeah.
Was it Jules A Night Without Armor?
No, it was The Cat in the Hat, man. Like, I got tons of poetry.
Seuss could write a poem.
Oh, my God.
You consider those poems? That's interesting. I mean, obviously a lot of rhyming in Dr. Seuss, but...
Sure.
Man, it's not prose, is it? I don't know.
It's not prose.
Yeah. I guess I like poetry, and I've read a lot. I love it.
I once brought the house down at a talent show, probably in the 2nd or 3rd grade, reading a poem. I think the man's name is Jack Prelutsky, and I still remember the way the poem started. Homework, oh homework, I hate you, you stink. I wish I could wash you away in the sink. Fucking destroy.
Drop the mic. Holy shit. That's
yeah,
amazing.
and then I said, I wrote that. No, I didn't. Anyways, I think poetry is one of those things where it's fine if you don't like it, and I can't say that I'm like very aware of what the new stuff is.
Yep.
That doesn't pull into my Spotify algorithm, but it's obviously a talent. And when you read a poem, even if you're not understanding it, the way it flows, I mean, these poets, they're taking days, months to find the right word.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
So it's not a random spacing and punctuation capitalization like this guy is saying. But since I thought we might not have that much to say about poetry, I thought I'd bring a little trivia into it.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, Trey, are you familiar with the poet William Carlos Williams? The poet so nice they named him twice.
William Carlos Williams. That does sound familiar.
I was thinking
he's a
guitarist for Cheap Trick.
William Carlos
Billy
Santana.
Williams?
No, that's Bun E. Carlos.
All right, anyways, he's an
familiar.
American poet. He's a writer, physician of Latin American descent, closely associated with the modernism movement. He's writing poems in the early to mid 1900s. It's not important that you know who he is. But he, I would say, poetry is one of those things like maybe baseball that you're really hesitant to talk about because someone's going to yell at you that you said the wrong thing.
Right.
But basically, he's famous for writing poems that can seem on their surface very simple and ordinary. And he said, no one believes that poetry can exist in his own life. The purpose of an artist, whatever it is to take the life, whatever he sees, and raise it up to an elevated position where it has dignity. So this is a for instance, Trey. A poem called This Is Just to Say by William Carlos Williams. This is just to say I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. So that's just an ordinary poem about eating someone's plums.
Yeah.
But very famous poem. So I'm stealing this segment from Jake and Amir's podcast segments. They did not give me their express written permission, but
too late.
It's not going to change their lives, so whatever. So I'm going to read you 3 poems by Carlos Williams. Unfortunately, one of them is not a real poem.
Oh, man.
It's written by Matt Austin Matthew. So again, 3 poems. One of them not written by William Carlos Williams.
Okay.
2 of them written by William Carlos Williams. I already gave you a taste of his stylings, so here we go. Our ragged work. By the tire shed, a rusted saw, teeth dulled by years, its handle worn smooth by hands long lost. It rests in the quiet, a relic of labor. Memories in metal, stories in silence. Okay.
I like
that's
it.
number 1.
I like it, yeah.
Young sycamore. I must tell you, this young tree whose round and firm trunk between the wet pavement and the gutter where water is trickling rises bodily into the air, one undulant thrust half its height, and then dividing and waning, sending out young branches on all sides. Hung with cocoons, it thins, till nothing is left of it but 2 eccentric knotted twigs, bending forward, horn-like, at the top.
Okay.
And final one, between walls. The back wings of the hospital, where nothing will grow, lie cinders, in which shine the broken pieces of a green bottle. So those are 3 poems by Carlos Williams, but one of them isn't. Between Walls, Young Sycamore, and Our Ragged Work. Which do you think was not written by William Carlos Williams?
Okay. This is tough.
Because they're all just a series of strange spacing, punctuation, capitalization.
This is a tough one. This is tough. I am going to say that Young Sycamore is your work. And the only reason I'm going to say that is because I feel like that one is more about nature, and the plums, the saw, and the broken bottle are about objects that are around.
Right.
Things I saw out of the corner of my eye when I was writing this poem.
I'm with you because this sycamore is actually...
Here's a poem. Vitamix blender, red, 10 speeds.
The sycamore one is actually the most poetic one because it ends with the horns above. So I'm going to say that one's that's Matt Austin Matthew.
Okay, but you saying that's the most poetic?
Yeah.
So you're saying that
You're the better.
I'm
Yours
more
is
poetic.
better. Yes.
Well, unfortunately, you're both wrong.
Damn it.
Do you want to guess again?
Not really.
No.
Because if you get it wrong again, then I'm going to literally quit this podcast to become a poet.
Okay, the saw is you.
No, it can't
be.
Be.
Yes, you're right. The saw is me.
Hey!
JD, you're about to fuck up.
That was a dirty trick, man. Putting your own poem first.
Yeah, I know.
It's beautiful. You should write that down. I was going to say, but I guess you already did.
You should publish it. At least put it on the Is This Good Instagram, like a quote
like
graphic,
Rupi
like
Kaur?
an inspirational quote.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that, actually. That's a great idea. That'll get, at least 28 likes, I would say.
I'm in for one.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
me too. That's 2 right there.
Write myself a note. All right, Trey, not everyone's going to agree with everything you say, but sometimes you have to stand alone on the edge of popular consensus. It's time for unpopular opinions. All right, this one made me laugh. Unpopular opinion. Retirement is very sad. You stop working forever. You won't be looking forward to something major in your life again. For the rest of your life, you won't apply your skills to something complex and meaningful. You won't be passionate about learning something new at work, applying to a job, teaching a new colleague, etc. Furthermore, you are now dependent on taxpayers who pay most of your pension. Sure, you have your hobbies, see friends, etc., which I have to note you could have also done on weekends or after work before retiring. My grandmother, like the other old people I know, literally says, "I'm just waiting to die." And then she goes to sleep and doesn't know if she will wake up. And that's been going on for more than a decade. LMAO. The person actually wrote that.
Wow.
So, retirement. A deserving reward for working hard your whole life? Or waiting around to die? What say you?
Or a death sentence.
Right.
A slow, agonizing death sentence. Look, I think there are some good points made here. I think that a lot of people get a lot of their identity from the jobs they do. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you work for, 50 years of your life. Basically, it takes up huge chunks of your day. When that's over, you got to find something to fill the time. So I know, when Laura's dad was retiring, when my dad was retiring, they were like, "Stop asking me what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do nothing." But then eventually you're like, I gotta do something. Right. I gotta find something to do here. And it can be tough to take up a new hobby when you're older and stuff like that. But I also think it is a reward for giving so much of your life to grinding away, supporting your family, paying your bills, all that kind of stuff. I can't wait to be retired. I wish I was getting ready to retire already. Because then you just get to do whatever you want. And now, I think about my dad and my stepmom are retired. Laura's parents are both retired. And all they do is they play pickleball all day. They go kayaking whenever they want to. Hey, let's go on a 2-week road trip now. Why don't we make it 4? You can do literally whatever you want. But filling those hours can be tough, I think.
Sure. Absolutely.
Is there any possibility that this is when you're a kid and you're telling your parents, "I can't wait to be an adult, because then I could eat all the candy I want." And then they're like, "No, you have responsibilities and bills. You don't understand." You're like, "I know, blah, blah, blah." Is it possible that because I also would love to be retired, but is it possible that once we get there, we will be a little bit I don't feel like I have a purpose. I don't have, a reason to wake up. I'm not saying I want to kill myself, but I'm just saying a literal reason to wake up. You feel less vital. I don't know. Is it possible, JD? What say you?
I guess. Well, as the oldest person here, I would say that purposes are overrated. I mean, we're all just waiting to die here.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, I too am looking forward to being retired. Although I don't think that I don't really. It's weird because our jobs are not real jobs, really. There's
right,
that,
so
right?
Yes.
I could probably do this job for the next 20 years. No problem. I would think, I would hope. But also, that's why I'm getting into pickleball now, because I want to be good when I retire. I don't want to be picking up a retirement skill. I should also get into bingo now that I'm thinking about it. But just being able to just...
I think you got that one down pat.
That one's a pretty simple learning curve.
Yeah, but I want to be good and healthy and enjoy my retirement and be able to travel. That's a big thing that I want to do. And as you say, Trey, just saying, fuck it, let's go on a road trip for 4 weeks, My children are probably going to be in different areas of the country, and I want to be able to go see them whenever I want and not have to be tied down by a job or anything. And then, yes, you're sort of waiting to die. But again, that's what we're all doing.
Yeah. Well, some of us aren't waiting to die. We're going on carpe diem. We're grabbing life by the balls. We're YOLO, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
YOLO, baby.
Not me, but I've seen other people do it, and they seem
some do.
It's working out. You know, I was thinking, JD, if you want to get good at bingo now, I wouldn't be practicing bingo. I'd be cross training, aka learning how to read lips. Ooh. Because your biggest problem will be they'll be saying under the O 71. And you'll be like, what? What did you say? Because, I don't know, I guess everyone turns into an old Jew at past 75.
100% right.
What about, do you think you'll ever buy an RV or something like that, JD?
Rachel is very much into road trips and RVing. If we do, she will be doing all the driving because, as you know, she used to be a bus driver, so I'm not driving.
Well, I don't know based on her track record.
Yeah, that's a great point. I won't be parking it, let's say that. I would be into driving the thing, but like maneuvering it into like a campground or a Walmart parking lot, I'm not into that.
I agree. Very intimidating.
Yeah.
Did either of your parents pick up like weird post-retirement hobbies? Like something you were surprised about? Because I would say like pickleball, something like that's traveling. That's pretty par for the course.
Standard interests, I would say at this point.
Yeah, same. My dad, he was into a retirement-like activity before he retired, and that's bridge. Like he's to play the game of bridge. Nice. So, but he did it right because he learned bridge like as a 25-year-old and played his entire life, and then he was like a life master the day he retired. So, and actually that skill got him on cruise ships for free. Like he would be the bridge master on a cruise ship, and they'd be able to cruise for free.
The bridge master sounds like way more important on a cruise. Like,
you just run the bridge. You just run the bridge.
No, but isn't it called the bridge where the captain?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, he was in a little room.
They're like, we just hit an iceberg. We need the bridge master. Your father shows up with a deck of cards, spanning it.
The other one.
The other guy that knows the things. I mean, you do bring up a point that I feel like our generation is not nearly as strong on card games as the previous generation. And what about Gen Z? You think they've ever seen a deck of cards?
You know how hard it is to get my kids to play euchre? It's so hard.
Euchre, hearts.
Yeah.
I don't know how to play. My dad was trying to teach us how to play hearts last Christmas. If we play again next Christmas, it'll be as if it's the first time for me. I didn't understand it. Bridge, forget about it. And then like you got your canastas, I don't know how you say that. Your mahjongs. Yeah. We're behind the 8 ball here.
Totally, yeah. Well, my dad tried to teach us how to play bridge one time with me, my brother, and my mom. And he sat us down at the kitchen table. He was like, all right, we're going to play bridge. And he pulled out this massive binder, like, of rules. It was like a fucking phone book. And we're like, oh, my God, this is like a course we're taking.
Yeah,
he pulls
bridge,
out
I don't
Bill
get
Belichick's playbook. He's like, all right, you got to learn all these.
Yeah, just study up real quick, and then we can play a game. Like, bridge, why is bridge in the newspaper? Like it's amongst the comics section. It'll have like parts of a hand of bridge, and you're supposed to be able to figure out the correct way to play it. Bridge must have really been popular when newspapers were getting going. I can't believe it.
Huge. Well, like I remember the old sitcoms and Mad Men days where they'd be like, well, we're going over to the Smiths. Going over to the Tierneys to play some bridge tonight, darling.
Yeah.
And that was what
Can't
they would.
wait
How would
to
they
connect
spend
to their
evenings.
Wi-Fi and pee on the back of their bowl.
Now it's all fucking Cards Against Humanity. Get out of here.
Oh my
that's
God,
a good point.
You're right.
See, I learned like euchre. I think I got to give a tip of the cap to Microsoft for having hearts included on many of their operating systems. That's how I learned to play hearts. But I haven't passed that down to my kids at all yet. So they're complete fools when it comes to standard card games.
Right.
They can play Uno, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I would say that the games you encounter more for that generation now are like a Cards Against Humanity, Apples to Apples, or these newfangled ones, not deck of 52 cards, and we came up with 1,000 games out of it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this would have been a perfect... Was it Andy Rooney? Was he the complaining old guy on 60 Minutes?
Yes.
Yep.
God rest his soul, but, like, we got to bring him back just to do this one. Like, kids today don't know how to play cards. The only cards they know how to play are Against Humanity. And why would you want to be against humanity? All right, Trey. There's only one thing left to do, and that's play subjective trivia. So we've already played some objective trivia. Let's see if you can redeem yourself here, because this is just like regular trivia, except only I know the answer. Last week on The Great Beyond, Trey, JD and I apologized for ruining the Memorial Day box office by not seeing Furiosa. JD, are you still racked with guilt about that?
I am, and we're in the presence of somebody who did his part and saw Furiosa on Memorial Day weekend. So
Beautiful. Beautiful. We salute you. You're single-handedly keeping this industry alive.
I'm helping. I saw it in IMAX. $25 for an IMAX.
Oh my
Furiosa.
Worth it, by the way, because I'm going to
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it and was happy to see a movie in a theater because I didn't think it was going to happen. I wanted to see Dune 2 in the theaters. That didn't happen, but thankfully, like, the Celtics swept the Pacers, so we were able to take off Memorial Day, and I got to go see a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, see, Dune 2 I did see in theaters, also in IMAX. So, okay.
I
Save
saw
your
it in the
angry
theaters
comments.
too, so there you go.
Okay.
I
And I'm
saw
gonna
it
see
at
Furiosa.
home in 3 separate sittings.
The way it was meant to be.
2 hours and 46 minutes? Yeah, we can bust this one out. An hour later, well, it's bedtime.
Yeah.
Let's try it tomorrow. All right, it's bedtime.
All right, well, that brings us to today's question, which is, which of these summer movies am I most likely to see, and here's the key part, in theaters?
Okay.
JD, please put up the options. We have Bad Boys, Ride or Die, Hitman with Glenn Powell, Twisters, sequel of Twister, Trap, that's from the twisted mind of M. Night Shyamalan, or Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, which of these summer movies am I most likely to see in theaters? Bad Boys, Ride or Die, Hitman, Twisters, Trap, or Deadpool and Wolverine? Trey, before you answer, maybe you could tell me which of these movies are you most likely to see in theaters?
100% Twisters for me. I'm very excited
interesting.
for this.
I was
Even though this
wondering
looks
if-
like
'cause
a complete remake. Like, down to the look of the truck, the fake Philip Seymour Hoffman character. They found somebody who looks a little bit like Helen Hunt. It looks like it's just a shot-for-shot remake of original Twister, and I will 100% see that
Damn,
in
Philip
theaters.
Seymour Hoffman was in that, and so was Bill Paxton. They're both not with us anymore. Wait, was Bill Paxton in that movie?
I was going to say Bill Paxton died?
Yeah, well, Bill Paxton died years ago.
I'll be
certainly
honest
made
with
no
you,
need
I'm
to
still
tell
not 100% on Bill Paxton versus Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
That was a
Bill
tough
Pullman
time
is-
in the 90s.
Okay,
You're
Bill
right.
Pullman is president from
Independence Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Paxton is in Alien,
Apollo 13.
Apollo 13, yeah.
But is Bill Pullman also in Apollo 13? Is it possible?
A Pullman
They never
Paxton?
wouldn't have the guts. It's like putting Dylan McDermott and Dermot Mulrooney in the same
Can't
movie.
do it.
You can't do it.
Can't be done.
Yeah, you
People would realize they're the same person.
All right, let's see these movies again real quick
let's
so I
have
can
a look.
review.
Okay, I'm going to... Hitman, I've never heard of this movie. Who's
It's
your...
Richard Linklater.
Is it?
This
Okay.
is-
Yes.
Okay.
This is going to be in theaters, even though it says it's a Netflix
Yeah, that's
production?
why I think we should scratch it right away.
It is limited release, but you may have just hit on an important part of the question. Yes, you did.
It's coming out on Netflix so soon, so I would say no to Hitman.
Yeah, unless for some reason, and I don't know this to be true about you, Matt, but maybe you're one of those big Glenn Powell heads. Glenn Powell's got a lot of fans out there.
I'm not a Powell pal.
Oh.
Okay.
right.
Interesting. I can see you enjoying Twister.
I mean,
as a
he's
young-
fine. He's fine. And I really liked him in Everybody Wants Some, the other Linklater movie about
Yeah.
baseball. So I do like him. I can't believe it, but I did see the Sydney Sweeney Anyone But You movie. And I saw it on a plane, so all the nudity was cut out.
Oh,
and
what?
I didn't think he was very good in that. I think Bill Pullman, when he had... Bill Pullman.
Oh, boy.
Glenn Powell... when Glenn Powell has to do comedy... Or has to be silly, I don't think it's great.
He's not a silly guy.
So, but anyways, I don't mind Glenn.
Okay,
Wait,
so...
he's the Twisters guy too, right? He's in both of these.
Oh, is he?
Oh,
Yeah,
Great
he is.
Finding Nemo,
He's Bill Paxton in Twister, and then he's Bill
And
Pullman
he's Bill
in Hitman, which is why they have those movie posters with him wearing all those different costumes. Okay,
Oh.
so look, M. Night Shyamalan. This is written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, you better believe it.
Wow, I
Okay.
didn't. This was the only one I didn't actually know was a movie.
Is it written by him? I'd have to check that.
I
but it's
don't. Yeah, I
definitely
don't
directed.
necessarily know what a new M. Night Shyamalan experience means.
Right.
But we've had an M. Night Shyamalan question on Is This Good Once Upon a Time.
We have.
Oh, yeah, we
Days,
have, we
early
have.
days.
Yes, he did. He did write it. He did write it.
Okay,
Okay.
so twists abound. How will it tie into the unbreakable universe? Can't wait to see.
Well, Josh Hartnett is the
let's
lead,
see,
so maybe.
JD.
Okay,
I don't know.
I think we should eliminate Hitman because it's
Yes.
coming out on Netflix. I think we should eliminate Deadpool versus Wolverine because it is a superhero movie. He's not that into superheroes.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I did see the Avengers in theaters with Matt in Toronto.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
He likes an action movie, but
Right.
I feel like I don't know.
To me, it was I was borderline on including Deadpool and Wolverine amongst my final choices.
Okay.
And if you're willing to rule it out, so am I. So it comes
Okay.
down to Twisters and the new Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Is this Bad Boys 4 or 5?
4. It's 4.
Okay.
Actually, no. I just googled it. No one knows.
No one knows. It's impossible to know. But Bad Boys, like original Bad Boys, is pretty funny.
Yeah.
As is number 2,
Yeah.
if I'm recalling correctly.
Sure.
And that is an action movie. It'd be good to see in theaters, people laughing. I could see that being a good experience.
Here's the thing. I think that you and Matt are of similar age. Last week, we heard Tass say that his wife absolutely wants to see Twisters. Now, this has blown my mind because, I have zero interest in seeing this. I think it's a generational thing. I think there's just a nostalgia factor there.
Yeah.
So I want to run with the numbers and just say Twisters, just
Okay.
big Jan DeBont guy over there.
All right, I'm in on
Yawn,
Twisters.
it's pronounced yawn.
Because you see it, and like I didn't even know they were doing a remake, and I was like, yes, Twister.
Right.
I loved Twister. The one time I saw it forever ago.
Yeah, and it seems like the one thing if you're going to see something on a big screen, like a natural disaster is the thing to see, right?
That's a good point.
Okay. So is that final answer?
You want to go Twisters?
Let's go Twisters.
Let's go Twisters.
Boom! It's Twisters.
People love Twisters.
I'm shocked by this. Like I can't. This is going to be the sleeper hit of the summer.
You didn't like original Twister, or you just a came and went kind of movie?
Came and went. I
Yeah.
mean, I saw it in the theater. I enjoyed it. I was very interested. I think it was Jan DeBont, wasn't it, who directed that?
Yeah. Hot off speed. I believe.
Right off Speed. That was the
Wow.
big press. It was like the guy who shot Speed was his first directorial debut. Helen Hunt, she was just off winning an Oscar?
As good as it gets.
Some
As good as it
people say
gets.
that. Some people say Twister is as good as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, but it's not something I was like, God damn, what a waste of time. And, we complained last week on the show about how everything's a goddamn sequel. Well, here's another sequel, but you
At
guys
least
are
it's a
excited
sequel
to
and not
see
a
it.
prequel.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm on. Okay, I mean, honestly, like I looked through the summer blockbusters, and of the ones that I'd heard of and knew what they were, I made a list, and this is the one as I said, most likely. It doesn't mean I've already bought the tickets, but you are right. I do love a disaster movie.
Right.
And every time there was like a Sharknado movie, I was like, just take out the sharks, man. That's
These sharks are ruining it.
just give me an good old fashioned tornado, and now they're giving me 2. So. Yeah, I'll be there opening night. If opening night's actually the same night as the Grateful Dead concert, Trey, I won't be able to go. Sorry.
That's all right. Imagine
What
seeing
do you say?
Twisters in the Sphere.
I was about to say, I'm seeing Twisters at Sphere. All right, Trey, where can people find you? And maybe give us 1 second of hype for this finals we're about to see.
We're getting a new champion this year, Matt.
Oh, hell yeah.
6 champions in 6 years. You're getting your first ring for either Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown or Luka Doncic. It's going to be exciting. We got some of the best players in the game. in Luka against one of the best teams in the league for the entire year, a hallowed franchise in the Celtics. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what Luka can do against a team like that. As for me, find me at Trey Kerby and follow No Dunks at No Dunks Inc. Basically everywhere on the internet. Search for us on YouTube.
Yeah, and if you want to see people talking about this great matchup we have, inevitably something's going to happen with Kyrie Irving in Boston. You're going to want to tune into No Dunks the next day to find out exactly what went down. Because they know.
No, we'll know what's going down.
Oh, they'll know what's going down. Yep. Remember to check us out at Patreon, patreon.com/isthisgood, where I post all my poetry. Subscribe to Is This Good on YouTube. And if you have topics, could always use some topics, email us at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Trey for coming on. Thanks in advance for leaving a 5-star review. For everyone, I'm Matt Austin, and this was good. We'll see you next week.